Hi, my name is Nikki Sattler. I'm the Director of Technology at the Dayton Early College Academy in Dayton, Ohio, and I'm also a Google Education trainer. I also have, excuse me, a training site called www.edtechforschools.net. And today I'm going to be sharing with you about building your own personal learning network. This is something I found very valuable to myself in my own professional development, and I think it's important enough that I'd like to share it with everybody. So let me go ahead and pull up my slides here, and we'll get started. So building your own PLN. Oops, sorry, give me 1 second here. I'm having there we go. So today we're going to cover what is a personal learning network, and we will talk about my own personal learning network journey, and then we'll discuss some tools to create your own personal learning network. So what is a PLN? Well, according to Tom Whitby, it's a tool that uses social media and technology to collect, communicate, and collaborate with connected colleagues. So basically, it's meeting up with other professionals like yourself online to learn and share with each other. So there are personal learning communities, and there's also personal learning networks. And what's the difference between them both? A personal learning community is typically found in a school or district. It's where the school provides top-down instruction, so they have a set amount of professional development they want to share with you. It may be concerning school policies, procedures, software packages that will be used within the school, and so on. It's a closed group. It's not normally available to the public. And again, many times it deals with specific applications that will be in use in the school. A personal learning network is a self-directed learning process. I myself take control of my own learning. It's open to anybody. You can connect with teachers, pre-service teachers, which I find really exciting, aides, principals, superintendents, anybody that wants to join your network. It can be online via Twitter chats and so on, or it could be face-to-face in a formal environment such as a coffee edu or an ed camp. And what's great is you can be connected through a variety of resources. It may be through a blog, it may be through Skype, could be any number of ways. And it can contain your PLC as well. So why should I have a PLN? Well, typically schools don't have enough funding for everyone to have the professional development they want. They have a certain budget and they try to do what gives them the most bang for their buck. So a lot of times people in special ed or technology or different content areas may not get to have the PD that they're looking for. What's great about a PLN is you can participate in your leisure. Here we are on the weekend, and we're all participating in this at Google Education on Air conference. And some of us may be in our jammies, and some of us may be in sweats and stuff. Nobody can see us right now, so it's kind of nice. You can do this in the evening, weekend, summers, etc. For me, the big thing is I want to drive my own professional learning. Technology changes so often that I find that it's hard to keep up. So unless I'm doing my own personal learning network, I feel like I'm going to miss out on some of the new, latest and greatest things that are going on. And if you're like myself, especially in technology, you want to challenge yourself to better your 21st century skills. A lot of times we don't get to practice using these skills before we use it in the classroom. So this is a good opportunity to practice and perfect those skills before we use it in front of our students. One of the things I find most exciting is the ability to connect with the educators around the world. I participate in several chats with friends from New Zealand, Singapore, all over the world, and it's great to see how they do, how education differs in those countries as it is compared to our own. And also, one of the things that people find most comforting is that it's a safe place to ask your I don't know questions. You know, you don't feel like you're embarrassed to ask people because it's a great learning environment. We're there to support each other. So that's another good reason to have a PLN. So my story. Like I said, I'm the director of technology at a small community school here in Ohio. And as the one-person IT shop, There's not a lot of opportunity for me to work with other IT directors across the community. Sometimes we feel kind of isolated. So what I decided to do, because there wasn't always money for myself to go to conferences and trainings, because most of that money is reserved for our teaching staff, I took it upon myself to start working on my own professional development, building my own personal learning network. I started out as simple as going to participate in a Twitter chat. And through doing that, I found that I was introduced to so many different chats, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. But it was really great because there were other people just like myself that were looking to learn and share together. I also then discovered ed camps, which is another great way to connect with people. I've made a lot of connections and friends that way, and it's such a good opportunity to share with each other. And actually, they've encouraged me to start my own blog. So that's another way that I've been able to connect and share with others. And, you know, sometimes reading somebody else's blog will inspire me to write my own. So it's just a really interesting way to do this. So as I did more and more of this, I found that I really learned, and it made my own use of technology stronger. And then also with sharing with others, I found that I gained additional valuable resources that I could share new technology items, apps, and so on with my own staff. So I feel that my personal learning network has not only benefited myself, but my staff as well. So what are some tools that we can use to build our own personal learning network? Well, one of my favorite is Twitter. And Twitter is been around for a while. And to be honest, I didn't get Twitter at first. I have had a Twitter account for probably 5 years and never really used it until the last about a year or so. So some of the steps that you need to do for Twitter is you need to create your own account or your handle, and that normally has the @ sign and then your handle after that. Mine is @nsattler, something very simple. Some people do it as part of their position. So I know somebody has at our school @DECA STEM, because we're Dayton Early College Academy. You may be someone, I know another one of my friends has @LSID Techie. So that's a personal choice for you, whether you want it to reflect your school that you're at or whether you want it to be more personal. I chose to do it as a personal account because you never know where your employment situation is going to lead you. So you may not always be with that school or that district forever. And so instead of having to change my handle, I just kept it very generic and very simple. Another tool is to use something called TweetDeck or Hootsuite to make chatting easier. You'll find that if you go to twitter.com and you just follow the hashtags, sometimes the chatting is hard to keep up with. What's nice about TweetDeck and Hootsuite is it helps collect the posts or the tweets via the hashtag. And I'll show you an example of that here very soon. It just makes it easier to follow the chat and participate better. Then also you follow the hashtags of the subject or the chat that interests you. I've listed a few at the bottom of the screen. Some of my favorites are GAF Chat, which is a Google Apps for Education chat. We have Read for Fun, which is on a Sunday night, and we just talk about how reading inspires us, what books we're reading, and so on. Ed Tech Chat is another chat that is very powerful for me. I communicate with other educational technology specialists or folks that are interested in educational technology, and we participate in the question and answer format every week. Sat Chat that went on this morning is a more informal chat. So, and again, another way to connect with other educators. And there's also multiple versions of Sat Chat. There's Sat Chat OC, which is for Oceania, so for the Australia, New Zealand area. There is Sat Chat WC for the West Coast, because this chat happens about 7:30 in the morning, so that's about 3:30 on the West Coast. And some of them may still be up at that time, but it's nice to have it available for them later. What is School is a great chat on Thursday night that's hosted by Craig Kemp out of Singapore. And that's a very inspirational chat for me as well. BFC 530 is a chat that occurs every Monday through Friday morning at 5:30 and then at 7:30 again for the Mountain and West Coast people, so not to get up so early. And that's a 15-minute spark chat. So that's really powerful. It gives you some inspiration to start the day and some encouragement. And maybe somebody will pose a question or a topic that they want to talk about that is meaningful to them. And then another chat, which I think is great that occurs on Saturday, is called New Teachers to Twitter. This is great for those people who are new to Twitter and want to just kind of experiment with it and learn more and look for some encouragement in using this new tool. So those are some of the chats that I participate in, but I find that I follow about 15 different chats throughout the week. I don't always participate in all of them, but they're in my tweet deck so I can go and see what's going on. So for those of you that's new to Twitter, here's some terms that are common for Twitter. So a tweet is a message that's sent out. And what's really interesting for Twitter is that you are limited to 144 characters. If you have a lot to say, like I do sometimes because I get so excited and passionate about a topic, it's really hard to keep your messages down to 144 characters. I'll type something out and find that I'm about 10 to 25 characters over. So what do we do for that? Well, you can reword it again before you send it out. What some people do is they take out some of the vowels. So you can still figure out what they're saying, but it reduces the character amount greatly. You can also substitute things such as the number 2 for the word to. Instead of spelling out the word teachers, some people use a capital T and lowercase s. For students, they may do a capital S, lowercase s, and so on. So there's different ways you can abbreviate things. And then again, also you can just abbreviate some of your words as well. When you're in a chat and somebody says something that they like, or you found something that they like, they will do what's called a retweet. And it's basically sharing it with their own followers, because your followers are not the same as my followers. But if I see something on Twitter that I think is really powerful or important and think I'd like to share that, I will retweet it out to somebody. And basically it just reposts that tweet. A modified tweet is retweeting with changes. So if somebody posts something that I like, but I want to maybe mention somebody specifically, or maybe I want to shorten it a little bit because I have something I want to add, then you would put MT in front of it to make it a modified tweet. That still gives credit to the original tweeter, but also adds your own information in there as well. A mention is when someone tags you in a tweet, and what they'll do is they'll put your handle in there, or they'll reply to a tweet that you did, and then you'll get a notification that somebody has either replied or mentioned you in a tweet as well. For those people that are new to Twitter, sometimes the best thing to do is to start out by lurking. And what lurking is just watching a Twitter chat. It can be very overwhelming at some of these fast-paced chats to keep up and read everything. For the first few chats, I really recommend lurking and just watching what's going on and reading. And if you miss some of it, because some of these chats because there's so many participants, they move really fast, then you can go back and view an archive of a Twitter chat, which is a curation of that chat. And they may do a storify, which is one way to archive the chat. They may just do a collection of all the postings. There's multiple different ways that they can archive a chat. And some people post them on their websites as well. A direct message is where you can send another message to another tweeter where not everybody will view that. If you do just their handle, so @ and their name, and then a message, that message will go directly to that person you're tweeting. If you want everybody to see it, but you still want that to be directed toward that person, then you would put a period at the front of the post and then their handle and then the message. So the period makes it public to everybody. And then without it, it's just private to that person, unless you put the hashtag on, and then it'll appear to anybody who's following that hashtag. Tweeps is another word for other fellow tweeters as yourself, or peeps as our students call them, or used to call them nowadays. The language changes so much. So it's just another way to refer to other tweeters. Following. Following is people whose tweets you want to see. So I follow about 500 different people on Twitter, and I know some people follow thousands. So those are the people whose tweets I want to see. So anytime they post something, I'll see that. A follower is somebody who has read something you've posted on a chat, and they want to continue to follow your tweets. So they will follow you. You don't have to participate in the chat for them to see your tweets. Just once they follow you, it's there. What's really nice and kind of proper Twitter etiquette is if somebody follows you, then usually it's nice to follow them back. A lot of times I'll go into their profile and see what their passions are or what they have to say about themselves. And it's really easy to figure out whether it's somebody who you really should follow or not. And sometimes there's still those kind of spammers that follow you, and you can block them as well. So it's fairly easy to do. So this is the official Twitter chat list. I've included a link to it here at the bottom, just because I'm going to show this to you, and you're going, whoops, sorry. I'm going to show this to you. Well, let's see if we can get this to go this time. Yeah, sorry, a little technical difficulty here. Let's see if that's going to work now. Apologize for that. Nope. Well, what that would do is it would actually scroll through the Twitter chats that are available. And again, like I said, there's a link on there so you can go see that yourself. But there are hundreds of chats you can choose from, and you can see they cover anything specifically to Virginia school librarians. Different public school districts have their own. If you are looking for more something like early childhood educators, they have their own chat. Again, I like the Google Apps for Education chat, or the GAF chat. That one's really interesting to me, and so on. But this is a very lengthy list. And again, if you click on the link at the bottom of the slides, which I've shared with you on the resources page, you'll be able to see this for yourself. And so what does a Twitter chat look like? Well, I would show this to you, but I'm afraid I'm going to go back and forth in my presentation again. We'll try. Oh, nope, this one's going to work. Very good. You would think as a technology person, it would work for me all the time, but not always, which would make my students feel much better. So this is a screenshot or a screencast of the GAF chat that I participated in this week. And you can see I'm posting messages over on the right in this new tweet area. And again, I'm using TweetDeck for my chats because I find it so much easier to organize my chats by. So I've sent a tweet out, and here's where it's posted. And you can see where my friend Kelly has posted something. Here, somebody has said hello to me. Kelly favorited my post, and she's replied to me as well. And you'll just kind of go through and see what the Twitter chat looks like. Most Twitter chats follow a question and answer format, and they're usually posted ahead of time. So there'll be question 1, and then the question is posted, and then you would reply with answer 1 or A1, A2, and so on with your answer. And then you always have to make sure that you put the hashtag at the end. That way, for people that are using the curation tool or the TweetDeck or Hootsuite, it'll show all the posts that use that hashtag. So again, here's my one for GAF chat that we did the other night. If you'd like to see all this video, you're welcome to when you view my slides later. It's about an hour long, so I'm not going to spend an hour of the session showing you how it goes, but this gives you a good idea of how you can correspond back and forth. I may be able to fast forward just a bit so you can see it when we get to the question part. Again, there's why I tweeted out the Google on Air session. They're still going through. Again, yeah, again, they post the question and then everybody has a chance to answer. So there's Alice where she posted question 1. And it was, how do you find creativity? And shortly you should see where people answer with A1 and then their own answer. And then again, it's very important to put that hashtag at the end so it follows through. Somebody asked a question about how difficult is it to participate in a Twitter chat on a mobile device. I will tell you that I've done it before. It's not as easy because I find that the chat moves slower on a mobile device. However, it can be done. You use the Twitter app, and if you search under where it says, you can search by hashtag, you can see all those there. But again, sometimes it moves so fast, it's very hard for it to keep up on a mobile device. But that was a very good question. There are apps for Hootsuite and TweetDeck available on a mobile device, and I've not used them much, but I do have them installed. But normally I find that I work more on my Chromebook or my laptop when I participate in a chat. So good question. Nope, wrong way. So these are some websites or some archives of some popular chats. The EdTech Chat has their own Wikispace website that they post their archives every week. Kelly Fitzgerald has created a Google site for her GAF chat, and every week you will find the chat curated there. That's a bi-weekly chat, so you'll find the questions posted about a week before the chat occurs, and then you've got some time to think about your answers and how you would reply. New Teachers to Twitter uses Storify, and so after the chat, somebody will post a link to that Storify, and you can go back and review all the tweets. What is School? Craig has his own website that he archives his chats and pushes questions on, as well as the curators of these other chats as well. So you can click on any of those links, or if you find, if you participate in a chat, again, usually at the end, they will go back and post where the archive is kept. So that was Twitter. Let's talk about another tool to build your own PLN, and that's Google+. Google+ is a social media tool built by Google, of course. And again, this is one of those programs or apps that I didn't get at first because I've been a user of Facebook for many years, and I'm used to how that looks. Google+ looks different. Again, I didn't get it at first, but as I started getting into it more, and actually by participating in ed camps and so on, I actually learned more about how Google+ worked. So one of the things that Google+ is made up of is communities. So communities are a place for you to share. You can share videos, resources, you can ask questions. Some people post polls. So if they're doing like a survey, they can post that there as well. And communities can be made up of anything. We have here in Ohio, the Google Educators Group community called GEG Ohio, and that's hosted by Eric Kurtz. And that's a great one for those of us here in Ohio. But you don't have to be in Ohio to join those communities. Just like on Twitter, I participate in the Northern Virginia educational chat, Nova Ed chat, on Wednesday nights, but I don't live in Northern Virginia. But they've invited me to participate in that, and I happily accepted and try to do that as often as I can. Same thing with Google+ communities. You can search for different communities and find ones that interest you. There are thousands of them out there. The one thing about Google is they're always changing and updating things. So if in the past week they actually added conversations, where it's kind of like tagging within a feed that you have. So you can actually collect posts that go along with a common thought or a common thread that you want to follow. Most of these conversations are moderated. So if something is inappropriate or doesn't belong there, it will be removed. So you can kind of assure that inappropriate postings or spams will be removed shortly after they've been posted. What's nice also, if you are a member of that group, you can report it as well. And then not only the moderators will be notified, but Google+ will as well. And I'll get to these questions at the end here. That way we keep going here. Some of the communities I find that are beneficial are educators on Google+, Chromebook EDU, so using Chromebooks in education. There's Google Apps in education, so that deals specifically with the Google Apps Suite. And then technology in education, which is a very broad community, and lots of questions are found there. Again, on my resource page, there is a link to this presentation, and then you can click on the links in there as well so you can see those communities. Like Twitter, there's specific terms that are common for Google+. A post is a message that you share. And when you share that message, you can choose to share it with the public. You can choose to share it with a community or with specific people. So that's really nice. Circles are groups of people you know that you create to organize them. So in my own personal Google+ account, I have a circle for my friends. I have a circle for my friends I've met on Google. And then I have my staff at my school in another circle, and so on. So it makes it easier to share because you can share with a specific circle or you can share with all of your circles. So it's another way to post a message to specific people that you'd like to see it. Extended circles are basically friends of people in your circle. So not only do you share it with the people in your circle, but it shares outside with their circles as well. Now, in Twitter, you click the star to favorite a post that somebody has made. In Google+, you click +1. And in the bottom left-hand corner of a post is the +1 icon. And you click that, and that's your way of saying, hey, I like this. There's also a forwarding arrow down there where you can click and forward or share that with people that follow you as well. A stream is basically a list of posts from people in your circles, and then also people who would list public could appear in your circle or in your stream as well. If you want to send a direct message or mention somebody in your post, you put a plus sign in front of their name, and it's called tagging. So if I'm sending a direct message and say I'm going to send it to my daughter, I would put plus Ashley or plus whatever her Google plus name is, and then she would just get that post. If I'm responding to a message in a thread, I would usually tag the person whose original question was posted or who posted the original idea or thought or posted to the resource, and that way they would know that I mentioned something back to them. And then Hangouts on Air, like we're currently on now, is also hosted through Google+. And what's nice about that is if you are participating with a online conversation for up to 10 people or 10 groups that you want to actively participate in, you can host a Google Hangout on Air. If you're one of those people that like to connect with classrooms around the world, you can find somebody actually in a Connected Classrooms workshop community and find folks that you would like to do a hangout with. And you may find a class in London that you'd like to connect with and just share stories with, or maybe you want to co-teach a lesson. You can arrange it all ahead of time, and then using your computer and the person on the other end's computer, you can host a Hangout on Air where you can actively converse back and forth. And you can use, again, that for up to 10 people or 10 groups of people that can participate. So it's a really neat thing. Getting to be very popular with many educators. So this is a kind of picture of what my Google Plus stream looks like. You can see where somebody there has posted, I've followed them, some of the different people I followed. I follow Google for Education, so you can see where they've put a posting as well. And then you'll be able to see down here where you can plus it to say that you like it, or where you can forward it to somebody. And you can see where people have placed videos on. You can see where they have tagged different subject areas and so on. For Teacher Appreciation Week, you could put the hashtag in front. Works very similarly. And here's where somebody has tagged somebody in a response to make sure that person gets a copy of that response. So that's just a brief shot of what a Google Plus stream looks like. Ed camps are something that I've recently discovered that I have just totally enjoyed. An Ed camp is very similar to a conference, but it's called an unconference. What do you mean by an unconference? Well, normally when you go to a conference, there are many different sessions. It may last over a day or two, and you would go and sit in a room, and somebody would talk to you, much kind of like what I'm doing to you right now. Somebody has information they want to present, and they share it, and there's some interaction with the speaker, but not always a lot. An unconference is basically a gathering of people who are interested in the same topics, and it's more of a discussion than a presentation. It's really a very unique experience, and if you've not participated in Ed Camp, I would highly encourage you to do that. The agenda is created by the participants, so there is no set sessions or themes or anything like that when you first arrive. When you arrive, there'll be a big board or a presentation board posted with probably 5 or 6 room locations, and then 2 time slots in the morning and 1 or 2 time slots in the afternoon. And if you're passionate about something and you want to share it with somebody, you can sign up for a room and time, and people will meet you there, and you can spend that hour talking with people about this thing that you're very passionate about. If somebody wants to learn more about Google Classroom, you can post that as, let's talk about Google Classroom at 10 o'clock in room 2. And anybody that's interested in talking about Google Classroom will meet there. So it's really kind of cool. I've been to Ed camps in the past where we've talked about learning how to tweet for new teachers. We've talked about using different tools such as Erasma or Edpuzzle or Zaption. And you've spent an hour talking about how to use that in your classroom. We've talked about many different things. And maybe somebody just has a question, or they just want to sit and talk to somebody. You can do that as well. So the agenda is created by the participants that come. It's free, so free is always good, especially when you are on a limited budget. You're only spending the cost of gas to get there, which is not a bad deal at all. I live here in Dayton, and I've gone to ed camps in Dayton and Columbus and Wilmington, and I participated in one 2 weeks ago up in Tiffin, Ohio, which is about 2.5 hours away. So people do come from all over. We actually had one in Columbus earlier this year, where the person that came the farthest was actually from West Virginia. So that's amazing that somebody had traveled that far to attend an ed camp. Normally, when you go to a conference, there's lots of vendor tables set up. These are a vendor-free experience. However, vendors do donate door prizes or swag to give away. So that's always cool. Usually there's everybody gets a ticket and you put your ticket in it, and at the end of the conference, they will pull names out and you can win things like a year license to Vocabulary, which is a really cool tool that you can use in your classroom. I've seen people win iPad cases, a year license to Zaption Pro. So you can have a free Zaption account, but you can win a year-long license to it. Many times companies will give away a 30-day trial or a 90-day trial of a product that you can try. I myself have won an IPEVO interactive whiteboard, which is very exciting. So sometimes there's some good prizes like that. There's been document cameras that's been given away. And at the one I went to a couple weeks ago, somebody actually won a Galaxy Tablet 4. So that was really cool. I was very jealous of Nick. At ed camps, participants vote by a law of 2 feet. And what that means is you go to a session, and if you're not getting what you need out of it, it's not considered rude at all to get up and walk out and go to another room. Or maybe there's 2 sessions that are going on at the same time. You can spend half of the hour in the one room and then move to the other one. It's not considered rude at all. When you go to a typical conference, people usually feel bad when they want to sneak out when the presenter is not done. But again, it's not rude at all. It's just trying to gather as much information as you can while you're at an ed camp. And then again, anyone can be a presenter, which is really nice. You don't have to plan to present anything, but maybe you're going with a group of colleagues from your school and you're really excited about something you've been doing in your classroom. You can sign up to present on that or talk on that and get other people excited about what you're doing as well. Then, coming up in July 31st through August 1st, much like this Google Education on Air conference, there's going to be a EdCamp Global. So it's going to be a 24-hour virtual conference. And I know they're going to be hosting Twitter chats, and I believe they're doing Hangouts on Air and other ways just to sit and talk with other people around the world, much like we do with the EdCamp, about what you want to do. For this one, you actually did sign up to present a session. I'm actually doing one on best practices for one-to-one programs. So that's one discussion that I'll be leading, but again, they can be any educational topic as well. There is actually a link here at the bottom, which has the complete EdCamp calendar that you can go see and find one that's near you. This is actually a couple pictures from the EdCamp I went to in Columbus. This first picture is everybody gathering in the gathering space beforehand, and you can kind of see the presentation board there, and we just kind of sit and chat and talk to each other while people are deciding what topics they want to either talk about or go take place in. So that's really kind of exciting. And then down below is actually an example of a session. You can see we're all sitting in a circle. People have their electronic devices out to take notes. And this one, I don't know if we were talking about a tool or teach like a pirate or something like that, but people usually tweet out what they find. So you can see my computer here with TweetDeck open, and a lot of people attend virtually at EdCamp by following the hashtag of the EdCamp. So they can learn without being there. So that's really kind of cool. And the participants at EdCamp prior did a word cloud or a Wordle of ways that they would describe the EdCamp experience. So that was really kind of cool. And I do agree that it's innovative and inspiring and collaborative and so on. So again, it's a really great opportunity to spend part of a day with new friends and learn from each other. Something that's on a smaller scale but very similar to an ed camp is called Coffee EDU. And this is a brief 1-hour ed conference. So typically people meet at a coffee shop and they sit together for 1 hour and just talk. There's no agenda, no pre-chosen topics. It's just a face-to-face meeting with other educators in your area, and you sit and talk about what's been going on, or what do you find important, or maybe what you're excited about in your classroom. Or maybe you're having trouble with something, and so you'll bring your computer along and you'll say, hey, does anybody know about how to do a Hangout on Air? Or does anybody know about this tool? I need some help. Can you help me? And it's a great way to meet other educators in your area. Basically, you choose a date, time, and location that works for you, and then you invite members of your PLN to join. Or maybe you do a post on Facebook or Google Plus, or send out a tweet and invite people to join you that way. Most coffee EDUs I've heard of have anywhere between 5 to 10 people attend, so it's not very big. It's a very intimate setting, and it's a very good place just to have some one-on-one time with somebody and get some help maybe with something you need, or again, share something you're really excited about. This concept was created by Alice Keeler, and if you don't follow her on Twitter, you really should. She's an exciting educator based out of California, and she's heavily into Google, and she's just a wealth of knowledge. And her website is posted down there as well that talks about the Coffee EDU movement. And these are just a couple pictures from different coffee EDUs. So again, you can see there's nothing big about them size-wise. You can see Remind, the notification app, actually sponsored this one. So everybody's got their coffee and their Remind t-shirts. This one is taking place somewhere else. And again, like I said, they're just very small and intimate. Voxer is something new that I've discovered as a way to connect with my PLN. Voxer is basically a voice chat application that allows you to kind of chat back and forth online with people. It's only available on an Android and an iPhone/iPad app. Sometimes they're tied to Twitter chats. I know Breakfast Club 530 has one. EduMatch has one as well. So sometimes they follow the conversation. Again, the Breakfast Club at 5:30 is only a 15-minute spark chat, and sometimes people want the conversation to go on past that, so they'll participate in the Vox chat and share back and forth past the actual Twitter chat. It's also a great way to participate in a virtual book group. You can have people from all over read a common book. Maybe you assign a chapter a week, and somebody will Vox out a question, and then you can spend a day or so responding back and forth. So it's really kind of cool. It's a way to interact with people kind of on your own time, but still, be able to vocally respond to them. You can also text in these group chats as well. You can, put a link to a resource that you found on a website or something. So again, it's another good way to share information. The one thing I find, though, with Voxer personally, and this is for me only, is sometimes I find it to be overwhelming. A lot of times, one of the chats I'm in is actually a nationwide chat, so it goes all over here in the US, and I get Voxes or alerts during the school day. So that kind of turns me off a little bit, because when I'm at school, I'm there to focus on my students and not on that conversation. So I'll find at the end of the day, I've got 25 Voxer messages that were left, or there's been 25 comments in this chat. So sometimes it's a little overwhelming to keep up, but I know other Voxers like to listen to those conversations on their way home from school. So again, it's a personal thing. If you sound interested in it, download it, and then there is a link to educational Voxer groups in my resource page that goes with this session as well. So be a connected educator. These are some quotes from a Twitter chat I participated in about PLNs. And they're really great quotes that really shared what I felt about PLNs. Some of my favorite comments was the third one, that technology has allowed me to be in control of my own professional development. I don't have to wait for someone else to share with me. My PLN shares 24/7. And yes, if I can't sleep in the middle of the night, I can get on Twitter and there's somebody on tweeting about something. The other thing is without tech, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be doing any professional development at all. And that's true for me as well. Again, as a isolated tech coordinator at my schools, I don't get much time to talk to other tech directors in my position. So doing that on Twitter really helps me, or any of the devices. It really helps me to connect with others. And there's actually a storify of the PLN chat that I was a part of right here if you want to click on that. And you can see all the responses where people talk about Twitter and Google Hangouts and Skype and so on. So to wrap things up for today, final thoughts were that personal learning networks allow teachers to take control of their own professional development and make it meaningful for them. And that's the big thing. Find meaningful professional development that will help you become a better teacher. There's lots of resources out there, lots of chats. They're just out there if you look for it. Again, there are lots of different tools you can use to help build your PLN. And they don't all have to be electronic. You can go to ed camps, you can go to Coffee EDUs, or you can use the traditional Twitter and Google Plus and Voxer. And then teachers can grow professionally by collaborating with teachers all over the world as part of their personal learning network. Let me take a look at the questions here that people have posted. If you go back to the Education on Air website, you will find the access to the resource page there. And you'll see all my resources. I also listed books that I've read to learn more about personal learning networks. There's about 4 or 5 of them there. I also have links to, again, the Twitter chat list, the Voxer group directory, and so on. So there's a lot of information there as well. Somebody said, how much insight can be communicated in 144 characters? Are there creative ways to go for insight within those 44 character limits? There are. Very good question. Again, you can kind of shorten things by removing some vowels or abbreviating words. You can also do a 2-part tweet. So you would maybe put 1/2 and then list the first part of your tweet and then tweet that out, as long as it's under 144 characters. And then you can do 2/2 and continue on in your thought. So you can do that as well. And, you know, if it's, you think it's going to be more than, 2 tweets, and then you can do, 1-3 or whatever. So yes, there are ways that you can communicate a lot. And to be honest, you would be surprised how much content you can get in 144 characters. Especially by abbreviating or shortening some words, you can get a lot out there. You can also include links to pictures, so you can include an image in your tweet, and sometimes that image will have a lot of information in it as well. So like on my next slide here, I've got this quote that says, "You can't connect your students to the world if you aren't connected yourself." And somebody actually tweeted that out on Twitter, and that says a lot right there. But I could also add more to it once I connect that image to a tweet. So that's a very good way to, again, put more information out there. So good questions. Let me see what other questions we have here. Oh yes, Dallas, I'm sure, has a very good ed camp. Oklahoma ones, there's one there. Very good. Somebody posted a question about creating an account so our school could see posts. You could do it as a hashtag. I know that Gahanna Lincoln, which is a school here in the Columbus area in Ohio, actually has their own chat called GLSD Ed Chat. And so you could create just a hashtag and do conversations that way with members of your community. So that is one way you can do it. I also know teachers that have their students create a Twitter account, and then she'll put out an assignment or tweet out something with a hashtag at the end, and she can track student responses with the students who reply using that hashtag. So you can use it in your classroom that way as well. And then another question somebody put was, do you think Twitter is the best medium of communication with other teachers? I like it myself. I feel I can talk with more people that way. I know some people don't get Twitter though, and that's completely fine. For me, I like it, but maybe some people like Google Plus better. It just comes down to personal preference, but I do find I can reach more people using Twitter than I can using any other medium. So again, very good question. That's all the questions I have today. If you have more questions, please feel free to post them here on the page, and I'll be happy to respond to you. I will also respond to these questions in written form here later on today. I hope you enjoy the rest of this Google Education on Air conference, and thank you so much for attending.